And we begin at 5 with a stark reminder the pandemic is not over. We have 2 high-profile COVID cases to report on tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and Oregon Senator Ron Wyden. The vice president says she does not have symptoms and will work from home while in isolation.
Harris has not been in close contact recently with President Joe Biden or First Lady Jill Biden. She is the highest-ranking official in the Biden administration to test positive for the virus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Molko. And while the vice president has not been in close contact with the president, Senator Wyden has. You might remember he met with Biden just last Thursday when the president stopped right here in Portland. Evan Watson joins us now with an update from the senator's office. Evan?
Senator Wyden's office says he is fully vaccinated and experiencing minor symptoms. Wyden welcomed President Biden to the Portland airport on Thursday and talked about infrastructure investment in front of the gathered crowd. CDC guidance says a person with COVID-19 is considered contagious 2 days before a positive test. So Wyden's interaction with the president 5 days ago was likely before he was contagious. Currently, Senator Wyden's office says he is working from home in Washington, D.C. and following the CDC's guidance and quarantine recommendations. Wyden tweeted this morning that he found out he has COVID-19 as part of routine testing, saying, "I encourage everyone to get vaccinated and boosted to protect themselves and their families." He said he'll keep working from D.C. until he tests negative. Senator Wyden is the 3rd Oregon lawmaker in D.C. to test positive this month. Representatives Earl Blumenauer and Peter DeFazio both tested positive on April 8th. David?
Both of them also at PDX with the president, though we imagine they had tested negative before that event. Thank you, Evan. Let's give you a quick look at Oregon's COVID numbers. The most recent report showed almost 1,100 new daily cases. You can see the orange graph there. The case counts have been creeping up, steadily rising since mid-March. Some good news, though, today. The WHO said weekly COVID deaths globally have dropped their lowest level since March 2020. And speaking of COVID, here's something that's been a long time coming. Electronic vaccine cards finally available if you got your COVID shots in Oregon. Here's what you need to do. Go to myelectronicvaccinecard.oregon.gov, enter your name, your birthday, a cell number, or an email. You want to make sure the contact info is an exact match for what you submitted when you got vaccinated. Otherwise, this isn't going to work. You're going to create a PIN, then click a link from the Oregon Health Authority. Finally, after entering that PIN, you will see your QR code record.
It contains all the same information as your CDC vaccination card. If someone needs to verify your vaccination information, they can scan your QR code with a phone or other device.
And that means you're going to want to screenshot it or save the image or do what I do, email it to yourself, right? Say if you can make this request more than once after you get a booster, you want to do it all over again so your QR is up to date. Again, this is only going to work if you got your vaccines in Oregon. Any trouble, glitches, OHA says to call 211.
Now to a developing story out of Northwest Portland, where neighbors of a condo complex got quite the scare. Police say a man broke into an occupied unit and trashed the place, forcing people inside to flee. Mike Benner joins us from police headquarters in downtown Portland. Mike, it sounds like specially trained officers were brought in to end this peacefully.
Yeah, Laurel, we're talking about the special emergency reaction team and the crisis negotiation team. They played a big role in getting this suspect to surrender peacefully. Without them, there's no telling how this would have ended.
Stand on the Broadway Bridge and look down at the McCormick Pier condos. You will quickly spot evidence of a Monday night break-in. Neighbors describe it like this.
I think that's pretty wild, to be honest.
Lakita Lanford is spot on. Police tell us it all started around 9 o'clock at night. A man somehow got onto the roof of the condos, dropped onto a balcony, and broke inside a unit with people inside. Fortunately, they escaped uninjured, but the suspect stuck around, arming himself with knives and a hammer. Authorities aren't saying what led up to this, but Lanford has a theory.
So I think that just goes to show how broken our system is and what's happening with mental health.
Regardless, detectives say the man trashed the condo. He broke windows, furniture, and appliances. He threw things out the window to the ground below. We're told the Special Emergency Response Team and the Crisis Negotiation Team responded and evacuated nearby condos. The specially trained officers convinced the man to surrender after a 3-hour standoff. The suspect was rushed to the hospital with what are described as self-inflicted injuries.
I hope that the person who that happened to, that they're okay, and then the person the victims and the other folks, that they get the help that they need from the city, because that's terrible.
All right, at this point, investigators have not yet identified the suspect. They'll do so when he is officially charged with a crime. David?
Mike Benner reporting there. What a strange story that was. Thank you, Mike. Quick traffic alert tonight. You might run into some delays on I-5 South between Kalama and Woodland, Washington. A crash earlier today blocked lanes for a while. Take a look at those pictures. The right lane was still closed. WashDOT says expect some lingering backups. Crash involving 2 semi-trucks and 3 cars. Amazingly, and we say that because, wow, with a trailer in the water and at least 1 vehicle on fire, there were no serious injuries.
Thank goodness. The Oregon primary is 3 weeks from today on May 17th, but today is the last day you can register to vote or update your voter registration. All of that can be done and taken care of on the Secretary of State's website. Also, Oregon has a closed primary, so only the candidates in the party you're registered with will show up on your ballot. Ballots start going out tomorrow. Absentee or replacement ballots will be mailed out by May 12th. And in order for your vote to count, you need to drop your ballot off at a drop box, or if this is new, make sure it's postmarked no later than 8 o'clock on May 17th. Last week, KGW hosted a Democratic gubernatorial debate. David and I were moderators with the leading candidates, Tina Kotek and Tobias Reed. You can watch it right now on our KGW YouTube channel. And stay tuned, the Republican debate is coming up Tuesday, May 3rd.
Made the deadline, just did this morning. Okay, let's turn to schools now and an issue surrounding the first bell of the day. There is a push in Beaverton now for teens to start school a little bit later. Christine Pitawanich spoke to a parent trying to gather support with a petition.
The parent I spoke to points to studies that show for teens in particular, their bodies aren't meant to get up very early in the morning. She says right now her son starts school at 7:30.
And I have one 14-year-old teenager who goes to a local Beaverton school.
Carissa Brock's son wakes up around 6:40 a.m. to get to school. Others are up earlier. This teen at the bus stop by 6:17 in the morning. Brock worries about kids standing at the bus stop in the dark during winter.
It's really unsafe.
Brock is also concerned about teens not getting enough sleep.
My child has a really hard time eating in the morning because he feels nauseous because his body's still in that sort of half-sleep state.
So she started this petition asking the state to change start times for teens in middle and high school across the board to after 8 a.m. Middle and high school students at Portland Public and Salem Kaiser already generally start later.
I think if people understood the possible physical consequences and the developmental consequences of this issue, that they would be quite alarmed.
Dr. Stephen Levy, who is engaged to Brock, runs a private family health medical practice in Southeast Portland.
Probably about a quarter of my patients are kids.
He says sleep deprivation has psychological consequences like a lack of decision-making skills or creativity. Long-term physical effects include obesity and heart disease. When teens hit puberty, he says hormones are changing, along with the production of melatonin. That's the compound that makes you sleepy.
Where teens can't fall asleep early enough to be able to get up early enough because they physiologically haven't adjusted.
But not everyone supports the shift. Some parents are worried about the impact on work schedules. Then there are transportation logistics and the effect on extracurricular activities that would be pushed later into the day. The CDC does recommend later start times for teens due to health benefits, but studies show teens who get more sleep also have improved grades and test scores. Health experts say teens 13 to 18 years old should be getting between 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night for good health. Meantime, in 2019, California became the first state to mandate later school start times. That's supposed to kick in next school year. Christine Pitawanich, KGW News.